Binge the full week of The Ray Taylor Show ad-free over at inspireddisorder.com/plus.
This is The Ray Taylor Show.
Swipe up, episode 192. This is the show where I share my opinions on current events. And let me tell you, if I was going to trigger a conservative, it would be on this show, and they will be crying in the comments, which I welcome. Please, thank you for watching. Thank you for not only watching, but thank you for engaging in my content. Despite how much you may hate my opinion, you are helping me because you're doing all the things that I need people to do. And sadly, people that hate tend to be more outspoken and tend to engage more. So I appreciate you. You don't even know the good things you're doing while you're trying to hate on me. But I appreciate your ignorance and you trying to spew your regurgitated propaganda all over my comment section. But let's get into it, shall we? Starting off with, just some bad news. I would say some disappointing news. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. Specifically disappointed in Netflix. Netflix is turning Squid Game into a real-life competition. That's right. Netflix apparently doesn't understand what Squid Game is about. It doesn't understand how maybe this is probably not a good idea. It's will I watch it? I'll probably check it out. Will I feel bad for checking it out? Yeah, I'll probably feel bad for checking it out. Will it be good? No, probably not. They don't seem to be making the best decisions over at Netflix. They really seem, this idea seems about as tone deaf as their continued support of comedians who seem to be attacking marginalized groups. It is a very weird thing, and I don't know who's in charge over there. I don't know who's making the decisions. In addition to not only this thing with Squid Game, but also with the movie that just got released that I reviewed yesterday, Spiderhead. One of the most mind-boggling decisions to make that movie, to cast big actors and a big director and writers to really put out one of the worst movies I've seen this year. And I saw the Twilight movies this year. But, Squid Game reality show, it also, the fact that this idea, this show is so tone deaf is only going to hurt the really good show that is Squid Game, which is officially been signed to do a second season. Apparently, it was just only rumored prior, but recently they officially announced that there will be a second season of Squid Game. But it's it just completely undermines everything that show is about and what that show is trying to do in order to capitalize on its popularity with something that's probably very cheap for them to create. It's just it's mind-boggling that this is the idea. And somebody already did it. Like when Squid Game came out, there was a YouTube guy that recreated the Squid Game games. And these games can't be anywhere near like the actual show, because the actual show, people die. It's as if they think the reality show Floor is Lava doesn't already exist. It's basically that show that already exists on Netflix, where you have people trying to get this obstacle course without falling in the lava. I don't know. I will watch it. I will be disappointed. It feels like on some levels the downfall of Netflix. Deciding to do a show like this just to cash in on the popularity of a show that is really critical about this kind of idea. is not like Netflix doesn't really understand what poverty is, or how the devastating effects of capitalism on the vast majority of people. But it's going to happen. We'll see. It's going to have a giant reward, a whopping 4.56. I'd have to go back and check my notes when I recapped Squid Game episode by episode to see if the total dollar amount is the same. There's going to be the same amount of players, 456 players. So I guess at least in the American version, it's 10,000 a player. I don't know, man. Not excited, bummed out because I like Netflix. It is still holding on as one of my favorite streaming platforms. Now, if I had to choose, right, I would for sure keep HBO Max. I would for sure keep Apple TV Plus. It's a cheap service and has amazing content. And then Netflix would be third, right? Because I like Netflix more than I like Hulu, more than I like Amazon, more than I like all the other kind of platforms. I have no desire to get Disney Plus. So Netflix is holding on at that third place spot, but, and they come out with some originals that are good. I mean, Squid Game, obviously one of their best, but it's a bummer, man. I want Netflix to succeed because they're not one of these other platforms. They're not one of these major networks that are just trying to get into the digital space that Netflix started. Streaming was like a Netflix thing. Hulu was one of the first ones too. Hulu was always more TV though. But Netflix, man, it's a bummer. So, anyway, maybe this is the beginning of the end for Netflix with this Squid Game show. Anyway, and now a quick word from our sponsor. Now you can wear the many faces. Original art by Ray Taylor. Select pieces from the ongoing series of abstract ink paintings. All products made with high quality materials, made right here in the USA. Go to inspireddisorder.com/TMF merch to browse the entire collection and save yourself an extra 10% when you check out by using coupon code RTSTMF. So once again, go to inspireddisorder.com/TMF merch and save 10% when you use coupon code RTSTMF. And now, back to our show. Let's move on to something that's happening globally. Specifically, though, Southern California. Record droughts, obviously. Historic droughts are happening. Southern California, new water restrictions starting June 1st, which we're almost at the end of June now. And my big issue with this is not that we shouldn't. I definitely think we should conserve water, obviously. I think businesses should definitely conserve water. But my big issue is that every time I see one of these things, whether it's, these studies on how much water is being used, all these things about how we need to cut back, how much like agriculture uses water, how much residents use water, all this different stuff. I never see factored in anywhere how much water golf courses use. Because there are, in the Coachella Valley itself, over 120 golf courses. Now, you want to talk about a game for wealthy people, right? For the privileged few that are located inside gated communities and resorts, a game, a recreational activity that uses cubic butt tons of water, never being mentioned anywhere on anything when it comes to restricting water or cutting out water. Now, I've already gone people on Instagram, social media, trying to defend golf courses. Not all golf courses are private. Yeah, there's public golf courses, sure. It's still a game. Golf courses don't produce food like agriculture produces food, which is, in addition to water, another thing people need to survive: food, water, shelter. Golf courses provide none of those things. It is a recreational activity provided for very few people. A huge plot of land covered in lush greenery that is not edible, not a habitat for wildlife. Any kind of wildlife on a golf course is considered a pest. Okay? Because they don't want wildlife messing with their pristine game board. So yeah, there are public courses, but that's not the point. I've also had people say, well, some courses use recycled water, which, oh, good. I guarantee you, not every single course, right? There's a percentage that use recycled water. And, by the way, we are in a drought. So what water is being recycled for them to use? And why can't that water be used for agriculture or residents? You're telling me every golf course has a water treatment plant in it to recycle used water? Because I live in the valley and it doesn't rain here. Not to mention anywhere, because there is a drought. If it rained all the time, we wouldn't be in a drought. So you're saying they're using enough water to be recycled to water golf courses? So they're not restricting their initial water intake? I think that's bullshit anyway. You want to talk about, an elite game like golf, right? A game that historically has only been, like, for the majority of the existence of this game, was only allowed to be played by white men, right? Women, very new to the game. Anybody of color, very new to the game historically. So very, very specific, and you have to have money. It's not, golf clubs aren't cheap. Being able to afford to go play at a golf course isn't cheap. There's a reason why they hide these golf courses behind walls in gated communities and resorts, because they don't want people seeing them, walking over. It's a very exclusive game that only wealthy people can play when they want to relax. Like people like Trump, who golfed for the majority of his presidency. You think those types of people give a fuck about water conservation? About any kind of conservation? The people that try to eliminate all restrictions on everything give a shit, would ever deprive themselves of playing a game on anything but lush green grass? No. It is up to the regular people to make sure they don't water their lawns and they don't use water at their homes so that the wealthy people can keep their golf courses. I think it's complete bullshit, and I'm surprised. Like, there should be people protesting outside of every single golf resort. The walls that surround golf resorts and, gated communities should be covered in graffiti, in all kind of protest materials, to let people know that behind these walls is lush green grass that is constantly being watered. You want to know the most disgusting thing I've seen in this valley? Over in Indian Wells by the tennis resort where they do the big Parabas tennis tournament, right? Huge global tournament. During the last drought, 2015-ish, Another big drought in California. Driving by. Sprinklers watering giant parts of land outside of the tennis stadium. You know what that area was used? You know what they were watering the grass on those large swaths of dirt? You know what that was used? That was used for a parking lot. Because they didn't want the people attending the tennis tournament to have dirty cars. They don't want it to kick up any dust. So they water grass. They put grass and they water it. So these wealthy people can just park their cars without them having to get dirty in any way. Just zero problem watering a parking lot for people that want to go watch a tennis tournament. Right? And that's what we see out in public. That's what you can see with your eyeballs from the road. Then you go, if you've ever been in the Coachella Valley, you drive around anywhere, Rancho Mirage, parts of La Quinta, Palm Desert. There are tons of gated communities. There's plenty of streets you drive down, and it's just walls. You can't see in. You can't go in. There's gated communities within gated communities. If you've ever driven Uber or done food delivery out here, you get to go inside those places, and you see the worlds that are inside those gated communities. And let me tell you, there's not a lot of water restriction going on in those areas. So when I see stuff like this, where Southern California residents need to really do their part, I would love to know the part that golf courses are playing in this drought situation we have. Because they are using exponentially more water than all of the residents to produce a game board, a place, a surface by which a select few people get to play a boring fucking game. Just a game where they hit a little ball into a hole that's far away. Oh, I understand it's challenging. I've played golf before. But I would give up the existence of golf in order to have water. Because guess what humans need? Water. Humans need water more than these wealthy fucks need this little recreational activity. And I don't see it anywhere on any of these things. I always bring it up. Whenever I see a post on IG or Twitter or whatever, I'm like, well, what about all the golf courses that use a ton of water? You know, let's say 100 people get to go through in a day and play on those courses. Maybe 200 people. That's not a lot. They're not packing those courses with people running through, you know? It's a luxury recreational thing that only some people are allowed to do. That some people are able to afford to do. And it's disgusting. It is disgusting. Because it's not like we don't have enough of these wealthy fucks just getting exponentially richer while everybody else is becoming homeless and the government is making homelessness illegal. It is like it is becoming more and more illegal to just exist in this world. Meanwhile, they're unwilling to do anything to give up a game. Their little precious game of hitting a ball into a hole. So fuck golf. Fuck all the golf courses. There should be protests at every fucking golf course. There should be studies. There should be audits. How much water are these golf courses using? How bullshit is this recycled water stuff? I don't buy it. I don't buy it at all. Are you telling me that this is the one thing that wealthy people are telling the truth about? This is the one thing? No. You know how easy it is for them to just pay off people? It's like, well, don't, you know, Group R, I'm sure what they do is they pile their numbers into agriculture, right? Even though Golf is not agriculture. It doesn't produce shit. It's a game. It's a recreational activity. So they inflate the agriculture numbers because what are you going to do? Oh, we need to make those more efficient. Meanwhile, golf courses, I'm sure, have gotten more efficient over the years, only because they want to spend less. But they're still using a fuck ton of water to make a green game board for their people to play on. Anyway, fuck golf. Let's move on. Jack Daniels and Coca-Cola team up to do a Jack and Coke combo. This isn't new, right? If you've been to Vegas, I haven't been to Vegas in a decade, but the last time I was there, I remember going into a little convenience store and buying a bottle of Jack and Coke in a little like aluminum twist-off bottles. Not great. It's like watered down Jack Daniels and flat Coca-Cola, right? It doesn't taste nearly as good as a freshly mixed Jack and Coke, but when you're on the Vegas Strip and you want to walk around with something and your drink growing up in your 20s was Jack and Coke, yeah, you're going to get it. So I guess this is new outside of Vegas. Because I guess what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. But this is a new thing that they're expanding, I guess, out into the world. Because the world is getting shittier, so might as well offer people more options as far as how to ingest drugs. And why not combine those drugs with soda, high fructose corn syrup, and whiskey? Which I'm a fan of both. I mean, I'm a fan more of the whiskey. But, yeah, I get it. And, like, just mixed drinks in general are pretty popular. I mean, the seltzer drinks, the hard seltzer drinks are hugely popular. You know, White Claws and, you know, every brand of everything has a version of that. So it's not that surprising that they would team up. But anyway, just a short, like, this isn't new. I saw this and I was like, that's bullshit. Join Inspired Disorder Plus today. Head on over to inspireddisorder.com/plus to join. Membership includes members-only discounts and deals. You get access to the Ray Taylor Show completely ad-free, as well as bonus episodes. You get access to the complete live painting archive. You also get access to every single podcast ever produced by Inspired Disorder, hosted by Ray Taylor. You get access to Ray Taylor's personal blog, as well as the opportunity to ask me any questions. So if you want to start a podcast, you're into art, ask me anything. And so many more things are being added every day to Inspired Disorder Plus. So sign up today, become a member, head on over to inspireddisorder.com/plus and become an Inspired Disorder Plus member today. Last but not least, let's move on. 31 linked to white nationalist group arrested near Pride event in Idaho. Obviously, I'm sure everybody at this point has seen that. My big takeaway from watching this, right? There's all these neo-Nazis in the back of a U-Haul wearing their exact same uniforms with their masks over their faces because they're cowards and they don't want anybody to see their faces because they want to be able to spread hate without being identified. That's how much they believe in their agenda. That's how much they believe in their message, that they will make sure they hide themselves to not really be tied to it because they don't want to be fired. They know what they're doing. They know they're on the wrong side of history, right? They know if their bosses find out that they're probably not going to have a job. My big takeaway is the complete restraint these police officers had. Just the most polite to terrorists, you know? Like, you see police officers, when they're pulling over a person of color or something, you see a completely different side of them. You see these police officers during the George Floyd protests, completely different side. Like, they have no ability for restraint. But for whatever reason, when they're pulling over these white terrorists, complete and utter restraint and respect shown on every single level. It is mind-blowing. They're just standing around, just being calm as hell. Meanwhile, you look at clips of George Floyd protests, people like holding signs and dancing, and then here come, cops with the riot shields just like beating people that are just standing there, pepper spraying them just for standing there. And these cops find a U-Haul full of dudes, and they're just like escorting them out one by one. Why don't you go kneel on the grass? We don't want your knees getting hurt on the asphalt. Don't worry, we're not going to make you lay down on the hot asphalt, right? We're not going to treat you like a black person in L.A. that's doing nothing, right? We're going to treat you with utmost respect. And everybody's surprised, like, how did they know? It's like, what do you mean, how do they know? Guaranteed there are police officers that are also members of that terrorist group. They could call it their infiltrated, undercover, bullshit, whatever. What we found out, especially January 6th, how many police officers and former military and all these types of people were actually part of, right? They're on that side. They agree with the agenda of these people. So, yeah, I'm sure there was, cops are like, hey, probably don't show up to that meeting. We're going to get these guys, right? We'll get these guys, make it look like we're doing something. Don't worry, we're not going to hurt any of your friends. All right, Bill? All right, Bill, don't go to the meeting, Bill. Just take this Pride Day off, okay, Bill? We're going to get your buddies. Don't worry. We'll make them kneel down on the grass. We won't remove their masks until way later, okay? We'll do our best to protect your buddies, Bill, okay? But we got to pretend to do our job. We're not going to look like these Uvalde fucks that are doing everything to cover up the massacre, the slaughter of these children. We're going to make it look like we care. All right, Bill? You got to crack some eggs if you want to make an omelet. So you got to let us do this, okay, Bill? So just sit this one out. We'll treat him with respect. We're not going to shoot him. We're not going to tear gas him. We're not going to mace him. We're not going to beat him with clubs. We're not going to make him lay down, face down on the asphalt. We're not going to put our knees on their necks. We're not going to beat them and kick them. And we're not going to do all of the things that we do to people of color just for regular traffic stops. We're not going to do all of that stuff. We're just going to do basically what our job really is. Okay, Bill? We're going to be super chill with them, right? It's just business, right? So, yeah, I'm glad the cops caught all these guys. Sure. But I would love to see this kind of restraint applied to everybody the cops have come in contact with, especially all of the people that are constantly being terrorized by the police that are doing nothing, like the innocent citizens that live here that aren't trying to cause, like, they're not trying to terrorize a group of people, like they're exercising their First Amendment. They're just driving down a street, regular citizens. It'd be nice if the cops paid those people the kind of respect that they paid these terrorists. But anyway, that's all I have to say about that. Let's do some shout-outs and get out of here. Shout-out CNET, shout-out Fox LA, shout-out NBC Palm Springs, and shout-out Today Show. But most importantly, shout-out to you. New episodes of The Ray Taylor Show come out every single day. Subscribe on YouTube and everywhere our podcasts are found. Binge the full week over at inspireddisorder.com/plus. Buy Ray Taylor Show merch over at inspireddisorder.com. And follow the show on Instagram at Ray Taylor Show. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace out!
Today is the day where you wake up and you realize that everything that you've been dreaming about, everything that you've been wanting, every goal and wish and hope that you've ever had can become real. Dreams can come true. What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.